Are you a talented and driven varsity football player who deserves scholarship offers but isn't receiving any, or at least not the ones you should be, because coaches just don't know who you are? There may even be some players around you receiving offers when you know you're absolutely better. Well, in this video, I'm not only going to share with you how to get D1 football coaches to follow you on X so you can grab their attention and gain more exposure, but I'll also reveal what to do once they start following you so you can secure the best possible scholarship offers. Literally, coaches will be coming to you versus you sounding desperate chasing them. Now, if you don't know who I am, my name is Richie Contartesi. I'm the founder of NextPlay, and I specialize in transforming young, driven varsity football players into confident leaders, communicators, and businessmen so they can ultimately secure the best college football scholarships possible. And I make these videos because I understand the struggle firsthand. At just 5'7", 150 pounds, I managed to secure a D1 football scholarship in the SEC at Ole Miss, and now I want to share that journey and lessons I learned with you so you can live your dream as well. Now I'm going to walk you through 5 steps in order to get coaches coming to you, and the first step is setting up your X profile correctly. So let me share my screen and walk through this with you. Step 1, optimize your X profile. This first part is pretty simple. Some of you already have this set up, but it's really important. So use your real name as your X handle. Number 2, make sure your name matches the one appearing in articles from achievements like all state, all conference. I can't tell you how many times that sometimes the name doesn't match these things. It's really important, right? Now, as far as what to list in your bio, you want to list the most important standout qualities that you have, right? If you're 5'7", 150 pounds like me, you might list different things that separate you, that make you better, right? Like that can have you stand out. So I might put 40 time, or my 5'10" 5 time, or my SAT and ACT scores. So I listed some things that you can have here, like graduation year. You got to have your graduation year. Got to have your GPA. SAT, ACT scores, height, weight, high school name, location. Like if you go to a really prominent high school, you want to make sure you have your high school name there. If you have great height and weight, you want to put that. If your GPA is awesome, make sure to have that. If your SAT, ACT scores are great, even though that's not as strong of a thing anymore, put that, right? It's like, what do you have? Like if you're the captain of the team, put that, right? I'm just trying to give you an examples, but put what separates you, what makes you great, because you only have so much room, and you can leave out things that might not be as pertinent to get them to watch your video, right? Add a link to your huddle or your NextPlay profile for coaches to easily access your highlight reel and info. Okay, so if you're sending them to a video, I mean, you could do it. You could pin your highlight video right on Twitter so they don't have to click off, which is what we recommend. Because if you're gonna send them somewhere like an external site, like we create a profile for athletes that has everything, all the information that a coach would ever need to recruit somebody. So if you have something like that set up, then send them there. If not, and you just want them to watch your video, then just embed your video inside of X. Like, what do I mean by that? Download it from your Huddle account and upload the actual videos. They don't have to click off the platform. And then if they're not logged in to Huddle, for example, then they have to watch commercials and then they should click off, right? So keep it simple. Pin your best 45-second to 1-minute highlight video. Again, right there, not an external link. So it's like your best plays absolutely at the very top. And then one thing, be honest about your measurements to avoid disqualification. I'll tell you right now, if you lie, the coaches will find out, and when they find out, they will probably disqualify you more than likely. All right, I've talked to enough coaches. We have a coach on our staff. This is what they will tell you. Do not lie. It's just, it hurts your character. Don't do it. Okay, be honest about your measurements. Set your profile picture to be in uniform so coaches can identify you. So cool picture with you in your uniform, your helmet, so that they can identify you quickly and they know that you're the person that they're currently looking for or recruiting. All right, let's jump into step 2. Build your list of 50 to 60 targeted schools. All right, before you start just like following coaches, let's spend an adequate amount of time to find the proper 50 to 60 schools that you should be targeting based on your current skill level, context, school you go to, stats, all that stuff, so that we can keep track of where the schools are at in the recruiting process, and you can move coaches through that process more efficiently and effectively. And if you're just not keeping track of anything, if you're just following random coaches all the time, you're never going to know what your statistics are and what you need to improve upon. So build that list of 50 to 60 targeted schools. Make sure the schools are based on the divisions that give you the best chance to earn a scholarship, all right? Start with the lower tiers first, right? And when I say lower tiers, NAIA, D2, FCS, G5 FBS, and then Power 5 FCS. Those would be your tiers. If you want to target D3 schools, go for it, but they can't offer you college football scholarships, right? So, no, that's up to you. And then the 50-30-20 rule, which is what we use with our athletes, where we help them determine 50% of their time is at schools we feel like they have the best chance to get a scholarship, 30% on the next tier up, and then 20% on the following tier from there, all right? And then you can follow this framework I'm going to teach you right now, but it's important that you're targeting the right schools, or you're just going to be really wasting a lot of your time. And if you're already a junior, you don't have time to waste, because it takes 6 to 12 months to build relationships with coaches, so you just don't have the time. All right, step 3, who to follow. All right, so increase your visibility by following every coach at those 50 to 60 targeted schools. It's not your position coach, it's not your coordinator, it's not just the head coach, it's every coach, literally every coach. Why? Because you don't know who's responsible for recruiting your specific area, so you've got to target every single coach. Okay, coaches often list their X handles on their socials, on their school's athletic pages, making them easier to find and follow. So if you want to go to their site, you could do that. If you work with us, we have all of that information for every coach. 3, position coaches, coordinators, and head coach, depending on division. So who are you targeting here? It's position coaches, it's everybody on the coaching staff. But here's the key here, most of the magic will happen with the support staff. And who's the support staff? GMs, assistant ADs, player development, football ops, recruiting ops, player personnel, recruiting directors, grad assistants. These are all people that are responsible for recruiting and finding the best people. So even if, a lot of times it depends on the level, right? If you're at the FBS level, they're going to have big support staffs. When you get division to FCS, it gets a little smaller. Division 2, it gets really small, and you're going to be dealing more with position coaches, okay? But if you're going at the bigger levels, you want to target more on these people. They're much more apt to follow you back. They're much more apt to respond in the DMs, and you're much more apt to get an answer, right? And everything that I teach with athletes is to get an answer, a yes or a no. You're interested or you're not interested. Because there's nothing worse than picking your 50, 60 schools that you're targeting and you can never get an answer, so then you're having to follow up with hundreds of coaches from all these different schools, versus finding out they're not interested, marking that opportunity as lost on your big board and moving on, right? So who do you follow? Literally everybody. Everybody on their staff you should follow. All right, bonus. Also follow players at the position you play on those teams as well. If they follow back, you can ask the same questions below. So the same framework I'm going to teach you. So you followed all their coaches. Here's a bonus, is go to find players that are on the current roster at your position. So if you're a wide receiver, follow all the receivers. If you're a linebacker, follow. This is another easy opportunity for you to get in touch with them and share your interest of playing for their school, being a teammate with them, and they may be able to make introductions and help you as well. So don't forget that. Now, I did promise that I would give you a gift, and so I'd like to offer you a free copy of my book, In Spite of the Odds, where I share in depth, step by step, the system I use to earn a full Division I athletic scholarship in the SEC at just 5'7", 150 pounds. I share a lot of the mistakes I made and the things that I also wish I would have done differently. So I poured my heart and soul in this book, spent about 2 years writing it. So if you'd like a free copy, just click the link below, and all I ask is that you cover shipping. Step 4, speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead. Once you follow them, there's gonna be a percentage of coaches that follow you back, right? That percentage, that you should be tracking that. How many coaches are you following? How many coaches how many of those coaches are following you back? That's predicated on how good your X profile is. So if it's a very low percentage, we got to improve your X profile, right? So you should be tracking that. But anyways, speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead. The faster they follow you back and you get in their DMs, the more apt you are to get a response. You got to understand they're getting 20, 30, sometimes 40, 50 a day, right? So just keep that in mind as you're going through this process. Some coaches literally use this as a filter to who they respond to in the DM. So we work with college coaches and they'll tell us that literally they'll follow athletes to know as a filter who they will be responding to or not responding to. That's why it's so important to get them to follow you first, then you can reach out to them. Okay, so you want to do research on them and follow the area coach email template to find out who on their staff is responsible for recruiting your area. So just because they follow you back doesn't mean they're responsible for recruiting your area. So I'm going to link a video in the description below that shares with you exactly how to send an area coach email to find out who the area coach is responsible for recruiting your area at any individual school. A lot of times I get the question, what is an area coach? An area coach is just a name for any coach on a football staff that's responsible for recruiting a specific area. So every coach on a football staff is responsible for recruiting a specific area. So it could be the receivers coach that's responsible for recruiting your area. We're gonna call that coach an area coach. That's all that the title means. So you wanna DM that coach that followed you and ask them. It's a very simple question. It gets them to engage with you. It gets them to respond back to you. You just want to ask them who is responsible for recruiting your state, right? Your area. And then you want to follow up after a week for about 3 to 5 weeks. And then once in your follow-ups, you could share a link to your pinned tweet that has your 45 to 1 minute of your highlights on your follow-up. So once you're following up, then you could start, you want to follow up and ask who the area coach is, and then you could start sharing your video to make it simpler for them. All right, but it's so critical that you follow up. You can't just send a DM and not follow up. You're gonna miss out on so many opportunities. Most of our athletes that do get responses, they do come from the follow-up, not the initial outreach. All right, step 5, how to properly engage. Now, just because they follow you, you DM them, they might not respond right away. They want to get to know you a little bit, right? So share videos or photos of your training, your achievements, game highlights. I actually posted a video recently on what to post on X specifically and the framework to use. I'll put that video link in the description below as well. But you want to keep so they can see your stuff, right? The more you post, the better. And a lot of people are always like, well, I don't want to annoy coaches. You're not going to annoy coaches, all right? They're not going to see all your stuff. There's no way. And the more they see of you, the better. So I promise you're not going to annoy them. And if they decide they don't want to work with you, they're going to unfollow you. And now you have your answer, right? Which is what we're wanting to begin with. Retweet your peers' success. It makes you look good. A continuous stream of content keeps you visible in the feeds of your new followers, which you talked about. Ensure your tweets and retweets reflect a professional and positive image, steering clear of inappropriate content. All right, I can't tell you this enough. Coaches will look on at what you retweet more than what you tweet to see who you are. All right, and if you're posting inappropriate stuff, the coaches will immediately take you off their big board. And then the last one here is so important. Actually engage with their content and provide them value. Like their posts, comment on their posts, provide them valuable information that boosts them in the algorithm as well, right? This gets them to be like, okay, this kid's like legit, he's paying attention, he cares about my stuff, he writes valuable stuff, I'll check him out. All right, so a couple bonuses here. Everything you're doing here should be done via email, LinkedIn, and over the phone. So if you're doing outreach here on X, you should also be doing the same outreach on email, on LinkedIn, and on the phone, right? Coaches are so busy, they're inundated, and you want to reach out to them with an omnipresent approach so they see you everywhere, right? They go on LinkedIn, they see you. They go on X, they see you. They go on email and you're there. And then they got a voicemail from you. Like, this is what you want. And again, you're not annoying them, you're just getting an answer. Yes, interested, no, not interested, right? Everything is not only on X. It's a myth that everyone thinks, like, oh, the only chance I'm gonna have recruiting is if I'm on X. It's so not true. You can accomplish and get scholarships without X. A lot of our athletes do it. So don't be like, I only need to be on X. No, you need to be everywhere, right? And then be careful who you listen to, right? I say that because of the last statement I made, which is everything is on X. A lot of athletes believe this, and it's just not true. So if you're getting advice from like other parents, or I'd just be very careful. And who you get advice from. Maybe people who have already been through the recruiting process and have done it, or coaches who are actively recruiting athletes at the level you're interested in being a part of. Those are the people that I would listen to. Now, I hope you got value from this video, and if you'd like to see more videos just like it, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification. And if you want to watch a video that takes a coach through the entire sales process from you following them all the way through a scholarship offer, then you're going to want to watch this video right here.